All right, welcome guys. Thanks for tuning in to this latest nutrition talk we're doing. If you're new to these, my name is Zach. I'm a coach at CrossFit Sohegan and also the nutrition coach here at CrossFit Sohegan and Primal Athletics Nutrition as well. These talks, again, if you're new to these, are something we like to do every once in a while to give you guys some free help to help you set some goals. Maybe it's nutrition related, maybe it's fitness related, and help you on the right track to meeting those goals. So specifically today, we're going to talk not necessarily in regards to nutrition, as in eat this, don't eat that kind of thing. We're going to talk about setting goals, but we're also going to talk about how to have the right mindset to achieve those goals, which is equally as important, if not more important as well. Before we get into the talk today, there is going to be some actionable steps for you guys. And we always want you to leave here today with some things to do, not just some tips to take with you, but some actionable steps to follow. So, right when this ends, you can go start doing those action steps and making changes today and not putting them off any further than today. So, there will be a workbook attached to this. If you are watching this on YouTube, the replay on YouTube, it will be in the comments or in the description box below. If you're receiving this via email, you'll see a link with your email as well. Wherever you're watching this, there will be a link to a workbook that you can download. I want you guys to pause this now, download that, and have it ready to go. Maybe you print it out so you can write on it too, if you like pen and paper a little better. There will be times during this talk where I have you stop and answer some questions in the workbook or write down a few notes there as well. So this is super helpful, helps you set those goals, helps you have those action steps to work towards those goals as well. So highly recommend, before we go any further, pause this video, download that workbook, and have that ready to go. So moving forward here, like I said, today we're going to talk about how to have the right mindset to achieve those goals. When it comes to your health and wellness journey, you probably think about losing fat or gaining muscle. Those are the two biggest goals we see on the surface when people walk in. They say they want to lose body fat, or I want to gain muscle, or a combination of the two. Digging a little deeper than that and going further, you probably think about how many workouts you hit in a week, all the foods you eat or perhaps don't eat or should eat, how much water you drink, and maybe even things like sleep and stress, which are all super important. But what if I told you that there's actually something even more important that may be holding you back from reaching your short-term and long-term health and wellness goals? So recently, before we move any forward there, I want to share a little story with you. I was working with a client for a few months and we were having meeting after meeting. Things were going okay, but this client wasn't finding the progress that they were really hoping for. We would shift the action steps each time we met, hoping to find the answer. We focused on eating more vegetables, drinking more water, tracking food that was eaten or wasn't eaten, tracking how many calories we're burning on a daily basis. But to no avail, the progress just wasn't happening, and it definitely wasn't happening at the rate we wanted to see it. At each accountability meeting, I would hear statements like, well, one day I got really busy and I forgot to bring my lunch, or I ended up grabbing pizza and then the rest of my day was downhill from there, or something along the lines of, I stopped to get fast food for dinner and then I found some cookies in the back of my pantry. And you know how those days go there. So these statements would usually lead to the next statement. When I woke up the next day, I was so upset at myself from the day before that I just had a donut for breakfast, and it continued from there. And this is super common. So if you felt this way before, know you're not alone. This particular client kept mentioning that she is never going to lose weight and is going to end up gaining even more weight, to the point that she sounded increasingly more and more defeated. So again, this is something we see quite often. You're on a diet, or you switch your lifestyle overnight, and you're following this really strict diet plan, and you're doing great for maybe a few days, few weeks, even a few months, and then all of a sudden you seemingly slip up and you have something you think you're not supposed to have, and maybe you go out for brunch and you have some pancakes and a drink, and you say, you know what, I'm just gonna keep that going later on. And for dinner, I'm having pizza and some fries, and then after that, I'm having some ice cream. And then the next day, you wake up and you're upset with yourself, so you have some pancakes again for breakfast, or whatever it is. That snowball effect happens, and one seemingly bad meal turns into a weekend, a week, a month, a lifestyle going forward from there. If you've ever told yourself the same things that this client was telling me, and or you've ever felt this way, which most of us have, myself included, know that, again, you're not alone on this. When thinking about making changes to our health and lifestyle, it's so easy to get wrapped up into that all or nothing mindset. It's easy to feel the pressure to constantly strive for perfection. It is also easy to focus on the result rather than the journey. And then when we fall short, we tend to rebound. That is why today we are going to discuss how your mindset may be dampening your motivation and making adherence feel nearly impossible. Before we dive into a little more, I want to state that we are so happy to be partnered up with Healthy Steps Nutrition. This is who our nutrition program is powered by. And one of the reasons why we decided to sign on to them is their thought process on nutrition directly aligns with ours. And we couldn't agree more with HSN when they say their tagline of something as fundamental as nutrition should not be complicated. I can't stress that enough. If you go onto Google and type in what is the best diet, within 0.3 seconds, you're going to get literally millions of results. And every single article you click on is going to contradict the article beforehand. So the nutrition world is confusing enough. We don't need to add to that, which is why we focus on a simple habit-based approach to help you reach your goals one simple step at a time. More often than not, our clients come to us and say, hey, I feel like I'm not doing enough, although they are doing the right things and they're seeing results. And that's actually what we want to hear. We don't want to overwhelm you with 5, 10, 15 things to do at one time. We want to focus on one thing, get really good at that one thing, and then we're going to do what's called habit stacking and add to that habit and build off that as well. This is the absolute opposite approach of that all or nothing mindset I was just previously talking about, and that so many of us have followed for so long. Our coaches help our clients meet them where they are and help them find the path of least resistance. And then we lead them down the path one step at a time. And that's what we want you guys to focus on as well. So keep that in mind going forward here. Let's get back into mindset a little bit. I saw in an interview recently something that I found really, really interesting. There was a New York City-based therapist. Her name was Catherine Smerling. And she stated in this interview, quote, shifting your mindset about how to lose weight is the biggest factor in losing weight. We can't shift our weight from the outside without realizing the correct inner resolve and intention, end quote. And that's such an amazing revelation right there. To help you visualize this idea, let's take a look at this triangle on the screen that links the 3 domains: thoughts, feelings, and actions. This idea stems from the evidence-based treatment referred to as cognitive behavioral therapy. You might have heard this referred to in the past as CBT. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps you become more aware of inaccurate or negative thinking so you can view challenging situations more clearly and respond to them in a more effective way. As you can see so far, mindset is so crucial to your journey and just may be that factor that is holding you back. So if this has piqued your interest and you think you're ready to get that mindset right and keep your motivation up, then we've got 3 steps for you guys to follow. And this will be when I want you guys to break out that workbook as well and be ready to follow along. So step number 1, establishing your why. You've probably heard this before if you've looked into some goal setting, but before we map out how to get there, we must first understand where we're going and why it is so important for us to get there. If you've been trying to lose weight, have you taken the time to ask yourself why you want to lose weight in the first place? It might seem silly, but we want to get to those deep emotional reasons why we're starting it, because those are going to be the things that help you keep going when the time gets tough. If you started a fitness routine or a diet recently, ask yourself, do you truly understand the importance or the why behind why you started? To help you figure out your why, I want you guys to list out what characteristics you value. So go into your workbook, write down 3 characteristics you like in those people you gravitate towards, and then write down 3 characteristics of the person you wish to become. So think about a few people in your inner circle who you respect and who you look to as somewhat maybe of a mentor or someone you strive to be a little bit more like. Write down 3 of the characteristics you like most about those people, and then 3 of the characteristics of the person you wish to become. After you've done that, and as you take the time to dive deeper into that why, I want you to aim to establish that strong emotional connection. This may sound like to be more confident in my own skin or to be around and active in my child's life more. Whatever it is to you, be sure to write that down in your workbook as well. This may be an uncomfortable exercise to practice at first. Sometimes it's really uncomfortable to dig deep and look at those inner emotions, but having and feeling and understanding this emotional connection to your goal or your why is what can help you refocus when things don't feel easy. And I promise you, they won't always be easy. While we do approach that simple one step at a time, there's going to be up and down days, and that's part of the journey as well. But on those down days, how do we motivate ourselves to stay on track? How do we, if we do slip up a little bit, get back on track as soon as possible? It's going to all come back to this why and making that emotional connection. So that's step number 1, is establishing your why. Step number 2 is goal setting. That's a very broad topic, so we'll take the time to set the stage to a healthier mindset by digging deeper into establishing these goals here. When we discuss goals, there are 2 types of goals. First, we need to discuss our outcome goals, or what we like to refer to as SMART goals. And that's an acronym for SMART. These are goals you wish to achieve in a specific time frame that will, and here's the most important part, motivate you. A SMART goal is a written goal that is specific, that's S, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. That's where SMART comes from there. Here's an example of a goal you may have. The general broad goal of I'm going to lose 20 pounds. That's a great start to a goal, but is very broad and we don't really have any specifics behind it, right? So let's go further to make it a SMART goal. Losing 20 pounds is specific and measurable. So we got two there, but we need to define the time sensitive aspect that is attainable and realistic. So now we can turn our regular goal into a SMART goal by adding, I will lose 20 pounds in 5 months. Remember, a realistic weight loss goal is about 1 to 2 pounds per week, and that's a very sustainable goal too. So by simply placing that in 5 months on the backside of that, I'll lose 20 pounds. Now we're marking off all the categories there: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. Having something specific will help you to focus your efforts by looking at the big picture and ultimately increase the chances of achieving your goal. So go ahead again, pause this video, take a moment and write down your SMART goal inside of your workbook. And when you're ready, you can come on back here. The second type of goal is the process goal, which are things that will help you take small steps towards achieving the end result written out in that SMART goal that you set. These process goals are what we like to refer to as those action steps that we mentioned earlier. They should be only things that you can control. All right. And that's very important there. I want you to be so confident that you would bet your house on it. The next aspect of a great action step is to only write them in the positive. So what if instead of writing, I will not eat fast food for lunch, which has a somewhat of a negative connotation to it, we shift it to, I will take my lunch to work for X amount of days each week. All right. And it has a little bit more of a positive shift on it. It's given us more of a action to do instead of just saying, I will do this or I won't do this. I want you guys to take a few moments while you're listening to this and jot down, again, pause the video, jot down 1 or 2 action steps that are 100% in your control, that you're at least 90% confident you can be successful with in a positive statement. Now, be very specific here that these are 100% in your control, correct? Because we can't control the things we can't control. If you're following along in the workbook, you can write these action steps in there or grab a scrap piece of paper. Just make sure you write down 1 to 2 action steps that, again, they are absolutely 100% in your control, and you are no less than 90% confident you can be successful with, and make sure to structure them in a positive way. Now, while you guys do that, I want to explain the power of reframing things in a positive mindset. Those who know me know that I'm a big fan of golf. And I want to share a story I heard with you guys from the golf world recently that really pertains to this topic and I think is really important here. So a professional golf coach was working with one of their athletes and they found themselves on a hole that had water all down, up and down the right side of the fairway. If you don't know golf, you do not want to hit your ball into the water. So as this athlete set up for their shot, they thought to themselves in their head, don't go in the water. Just don't hit in the water. Pretend it's not there. Don't hit in the water. And they were just really fixated on that water on the right side of the fairway. So they set up, they teed up their ball, they swung their club, and sure enough, plop right into the water, right? So the coach asked the athlete what they were thinking before they were setting up for that shot. And they told him what that inner voice was chanting, don't go in the water, don't go in the water. And the coach said, all right, let's tee up another one and take another shot. But this time, I want you to think to yourself about hitting it towards that big green tree on the left side of the fairway. The athlete did just that, set up their tee shot, looked at that big tree on the left side of the fairway. They swung, and their ball was on the left side of the fairway with a clear shot to the green going forward. The coach explained to his athlete that you must visualize what you will do rather than what you won't do. This isn't only applicable in a very mental game like golf. Thinking in the positive will help you focus and align yourself in order to find success and move forward in the direction you want. If you're only visualizing the failure or that water on the right side of the fairway, that is where you'll go every time. So now that you've outlined your goals in your workbook, let's move to step 3 of finding the mindset that is going to help you achieve those goals. And that is going to bring us to the 3 R's here: refocus, reframe, and recover. When things are going well, it is so easy to continue on having a great mindset. If weight loss is our goal, every time we step on that scale and see a lower number, it's a good day and it's going to be easy to be in a good mood and keep going on with those healthy habits. But what happens on the days that the scale doesn't move, or when the scale inevitably goes up a pound or two? We all know that life isn't a straight line from A to B, and the same goes for our health and fitness. Our journeys come with twists and turns. And that is why we need the step number 3 of the 3 R's. Let's keep going along with bringing your lunch to work as an action step for that SMART goal you said of losing 20 pounds in 5 months. Imagine one day you're super busy, which is going to happen. You forget your lunch and you end up eating way too much pizza and soda that somebody brought to the office for work that day. You may be thinking that you messed up and now you slip back into thinking that you failed, which may lead to another snack and treats that pull you further away from your goals. Or maybe you miss one workout, so you get down on yourself and then a whole week goes by and you didn't make it to the gym. When you are starting to feel yourself slipping into that negative mindset, let's remind ourselves to reframe the situation. Rather than only focusing on the negative actions today, what have you been doing really well over the last 2 weeks? It's easy to focus on that one day you slipped up, but what about the last 14 days when you were spot on? All right, so we reframe that mindset. Again, focus on those positives there. Then that negative doesn't really seem that big. Maybe you've been doing really great staying hydrated, or maybe you didn't make it to the gym this week at all, but you did spend some time with your family. And if that was part of your why, then you've accomplished something great there. If you're the person who wrote down to be more active and present in your child's life, then reframe and celebrate that you took more time to be with your family. If what you pulled away from the action step is not aligning with your why, then reframe and refocus. Reframing is all about looking at the big picture rather than this one moment in a long journey. This one lunch you slipped up on is a blip in the radar of lifelong health and wellness. Refocusing is the next R of the 3 R's, and this is all about reflection or digging into your thoughts even further. We all have this little voice in our head that verbalizes our thoughts to us. Sometimes this inner voice is positive and sometimes it isn't. Next time you have a thought during a valley in your journey, ask yourself, is the way I'm thinking making it easier for me to act how I want to act, be who I want to be, and feel how I want to feel? Again, this sounds easier said than done. And when those negative thoughts are flowing, it can be really hard to get back on track and to even notice these negative thoughts sometimes. Take a moment to yourself, reflect, then ask yourself, what is the best thing I can do right now? It doesn't have to be something huge or life changing. It could be going to drink a glass of water or going for a 5 minute walk. Oftentimes, when we are in this negative mindset or find ourselves in a rut, we wait around for motivation to hit. We wait and cripple ourselves waiting for this wave of motivation, but sometimes that motivation isn't going to come. And I'm a firm believer that action creates motivation, not the other way around. Put one foot in front of the other, complete the smallest action step you can think of, and watch the ball keep rolling from there. Sometimes taking a breath and asking yourself a refocusing question just isn't enough, and that's okay. A well known sports psychologist helps her athletes with a thought stopping process that includes a physical and verbal cue to signal they're refocusing. This may be a clap of the hands followed by a verbal stop. Try some deep breathing, try taking small action steps or this thought stopping process and just see what works best for you. Next, we start to recover. A great way to recover from this negative self talk is replace it with a positive self talk. That great sports psychologist I just mentioned, Wendy Swift, gave this example of a really strong positive replacement thought. Going back to that example of missing your lunch or not bringing your lunch, you can say to yourself, I don't have to wreck my whole day because I got caught up and didn't have time to pack lunch. Calm down. The only meal affected is lunch. I will go to the store, eat a proper portion of food, and carry on with the rest of my day on track. All right. So the only rules for this replacement thought is to ensure that it has positive language. It is in the present tense, it is task focused, and it is believable. Start practicing these replacement thoughts by writing them down in the moments where you feel your motivation slipping downwards. The next aspect of recovering is deciding if you need to adjust your goals. Based on the current situation that you pulled from the action steps, do you need to adjust them to ensure that you're once again 90% confident and perhaps confident enough to bet your house on it? If you're not 90% confident, maybe we go back to our SMART goals and set some new ones. You will then either establish new action steps to fit your needs or refocus on how to get back on track to the previous step if you feel like that is still realistic with your current situation. The best thing you can do to help with this mindset shift is talk with your support system, maybe get a nutrition coach who can help you walk you through the process, and always be there when you need to adjust. So to wrap this up, through this entire presentation, we discussed the 3 steps to help you start finding the best mindset to reach those goals, which included establishing your why, proper goal setting, and how to handle adversity with those 3 R's. So if you guys are looking for further help to help you find that right mindset or find that right path to reach your goals, be sure to reach out to us and ask us about how to start a nutrition program. We'd love to get you set up with a coach that can help you with accountability. We'd love to keep offering you some free help there as well. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you see these videos all the time. And if you want to reach out to us and have more questions about a nutrition program, there'll be a link in the description below for you guys to set up a free consultation. Whether you're local to Southern New Hampshire or you're a remote client, we can work with anybody. So click on that free trial intro button below and we'll get started from there. So thank you guys for tuning in today, and I hope these help you out. Remember to download that workbook and follow along and fill out all those action steps. Now get out there and go set some goals and accomplish.